Hello everyone and welcome back to LewisFiction and welcome back to another retro fanfiction, the series where we take old fanfictions from my other channel Lewis Films and re-upload them onto this channel for new viewers or potentially older viewers to enjoy. Today I bring you The Amazing Spider-Man 4. We've been uploading The Amazing Spider-Man series, so make sure to stay tuned because you're not going to want to miss The Amazing Spider-Man 5 next week and the conclusion with The Amazing Spider-Man 6. With that being said, enjoy the video. We start our story straight off the bat with Dr. Otto Octavius, who is working at Oscorp for some years ago. This scene will introduce his character. Otto is a pushover. We see Norman Osborn before he dies. Norman tells him that Oscorp can't keep funding his project. An argument breaks out. Otto says that he can't just steal his work. Norman says that he can as long as it's under the Oscorp name, and Otto storms out. Cut to the present day and Spider-Man swings through the city and there's news of a robbery in town. Peter swings down and it's revealed that some guy calling himself the Shocker is robbing a bank. Spider-Man lands and takes down the Shocker. Black Cat arrives on the scene just after the Shocker had been taken down and she jokes about how Peter can't leave anything for her. This is a quick banterous scene what we use to show Felicia's character a little more. As Peter leaves, her smile turns to a frown and she looks down. We then cut to Donald Mencken, who is with a mysterious figure, the Gentleman. The Gentleman says that Shocker was another one of your failures. As you remember, it was revealed last time out that Donald Mencken was behind everything at Oscorp, the Rhino and everything. Well, now it's revealed that the Gentleman, the one who we saw in The Amazing Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, is now at the helm of it. He was controlling Mencken this entire time. Mencken is only doing what he's told. The Gentleman says he will be punished if he fails again. He wants Spider-Man drawn out and eliminated. We then cut to Aunt May and Peter says that he needs to start moving on with his life apart from just being Spider-Man. So he says that he's going to start going to college to study science and get his life back on track, because he was really interested in science as a kid and when he was in high school. Aunt May says this is a good idea. We then get reintroduced to Mary Jane and Peter Parker. These two talk about what just happened in Venom when MJ ran off from the battle. Peter explains that he got out fine. You see, MJ doesn't know that Peter is Spider-Man and it makes sense for Peter not to tell her that because of what happened with Gwen. And Peter is so hellbent on not getting anyone else hurt. He's doing whatever it takes. Peter is also interested in MJ, so he doesn't want to make the same mistake again. He has learned. Peter tells MJ that he's going to go to college and MJ reveals that she's put in an application to go to an acting school and that she wants to become a news reporter or get connections to becoming a news reporter. You see, these two aren't fully blown dating yet, but it will show that they have interest within each other. I really don't want to force this relationship on the audience, as I feel like after TASM 3 when Gwen died, it would be a little too soon to just say Peter is dating someone else now. So this will feel more gradual and it will help with seeing how these two characters grow up and seeing how they become to like each other and interact with each other. We then cut to a scene where Peter goes into college for the first time and meets his teacher, Dr. Otto Octavius, who after his little Oscorp incident is now a college teacher. Doc and Peter introduce themselves to each other and Peter and Ock really like each other. You see, originally I was going to do more of a Spider-Man 2 route with this story, but I think I'm going to go more of a PS4 route. The reason for this is leading up to the Sinister Six movie that I'm making, I want to make as many of these characters as sympathetic as possible. And I feel like really tying Otto down to Peter as someone he respects is going to hurt even more when it comes to it. We then have a scene where Peter and Black Cat are stopping some crimes and they're standing on a rooftop at night. Peter was about to leave until Felicia calls his name and she takes off her mask, making this scene more personal as now we can see her face. She speaks to Peter and was beating around the bush to tell him something. She seemed nervous. Peter asks her what's wrong and Felicia can't bring herself to say anything, so she says it's nothing. Peter says okay and swings off. The shot lingers with Felicia and a tear trickles down her face. The nighttime setting reveals her lost in the dark kind of judgment. It is revealed that Felicia actually has feelings for Peter, but she can't admit them to him out of the fear that it'd mess their friendship up. You see, Peter was the only one who invested time into caring about her and what she was going through in the third film, which is why now Felicia has the utmost respect and sees him as a man, a guy who really cares about her. But Peter is Spider-Man, and that's what Spider-Man does. He helps people. Felicia isn't just another person that was saved by Spider-Man though, as these two have become really good friends, but Peter doesn't feel that way back. This will be represented through the fact that in this scene, Peter will keep his mask on the entire time and Felicia won't, almost as if Felicia is opening up and Peter is staying closed away. This scene will next be paralleled with a scene with MJ and Peter out on a date. This scene will be a topic of what are they comes up in conversation. They will awkwardly talk about it, and you can tell that Peter is hesitant. MJ asks what's wrong, and Peter breaks down and he reveals what happened to Gwen. But he explains it from a Peter Parker's perspective, meaning that he doesn't tell her that he is Spider-Man. Peter says that he wants to be with her though, and MJ says she does too. This will be a slow scene, and it'll be the slowest part of this movie. You see, the last two movies have been very fast-paced and very action-packed. TASM 3 and Venom and while they allow us to introduce new arcs and places for these characters to go, The Amazing Spider-Man 4 will allow us to really catch up with these characters and slow the pace down and really feel with the characters as well. We then get a couple of scenes in between with Peter going to college and interacting with other characters and really catching up. Peter is happy and his life is going pretty well. He's got a lot of relationships that are going pretty well, like his relationship with MJ, Felicia and Aunt May, and Otto. Him and Otto have grown close due to their love in science. One night after college, Peter and Otto are talking to each other. They joke around as they get to know each other, like Otto will ask the classic girlfriend question, etc. And Peter nervously answers with yes, her name is Mary Jane and that kind of stuff. Then back onto the topic of science, Peter is telling him about his love for science and his dad. Otto says that he knew Richard back in the day when he worked at Oscorp, and he said that he was one of the only trustworthy men there. He always strived to do the right thing. Peter talks about his father as well and how he spoke to Dr. Connors back in the day, trying to find out who his father really was. Otto then gets into detail about Oscorp and the schemes. Peter, being Spider-Man already, knows that Oscorp are notorious for making supervillains, as he's been fighting them for years now. Otto starts talking about Norman Osborn and how he wasn't nice to Otto. He outcasted him from the company. Otto then tells Peter what he was working on at Oscorp, saying that they were mechanical arms to withstand high temperatures and complete experiments that required dangerous temperatures. These were going to be used globally by all science departments until Norman kicked him off the project and took it for himself and having the benefits all to himself. Norman has always been selfish, it's just the type of person he is. He never liked seeing anyone else above him physically or mentally. But then the project never got completed due to the downfall in his health and eventual death in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. The arms that Otto worked on still remain in the clutches of Oscorp. Otto decides to show Peter a secret. Under the college's nose, he has been working on arms similar, using their resources combined with his own. Peter is unsure about this. Otto says that they're prototypes and they're nowhere as near as good as the ones he made at Oscorp. But his livelihood was ripped away from him and he wasn't going to let that stop him from completing his dream, completing his work. Peter is impressed, but he tells Otto that this could be a bad idea. Doing this under the nose of the college and everyone else, he's lying to them, he's not being honest. Otto says that as long as no one else finds out, then they should be fine. Otto asks Peter if he can trust him, just like he did his father. Peter says yes, even though he knows it's the wrong thing to do, setting up the main arc and theme of this movie and The Amazing Spider-Man 5, which will be honesty. There will be a 2-movie arc about Peter being honest with people in his life, and he will have to see the consequences as well. But the arms weren't stable, they were dangerous in some aspect. We then skip forward a little bit and Peter is discussing with Aunt May about Otto and he doesn't know what to do about it. May says that he has to do what's right. There's only so far one person can go to do the right thing before they become wrong themselves, which was a line to represent Otto in this movie. We then get a scene with Felicia where she comes home. This is one of the first ever scenes we get with Felicia as a person, personally. She puts down her coat on the side and sits down on the sofa in her apartment. She looks at a picture of her and Peter in the Spider-Man costume and the Black Cat costume. She looks down. She decides that she's not going to succeed by keeping a secret, so she decides to let him know. And then Peter attends Otto's class the next day and tells him that he should stop doing what he's doing because it could get him hurt. It's not the right thing to do because he has been obsessing over this grudge he has had over Oscorp this entire time. Otto refuses and gets mad at Peter. How dare he? And then the school officials will walk in and confiscate Otto's stuff as it was a hazard and was dangerous. Peter has now done the same thing that Norman did to him all these years ago. He grassed him out. From Otto's perspective, Peter is as bad as Norman now. Otto screams and says, "How could you do this to me? I thought we were friends," and then presses a button. The arms leap onto him and says that if anyone comes near him, he will not hesitate to show them who's boss. Peter can't do anything about it as he's not in his Spider-Man suit. Otto says that they won't take this away from him. Not again, not after Norman. Peter shouts at Otto to calm down and he doesn't. He is being driven completely insane by this and Otto knocks Peter and the schoolman out of the way, seriously injuring the schoolman but not Peter since he's Spider-Man. Otto exclaims that he's going to take back what's rightfully his. He's finally going to exact revenge and he escapes. Peter helps the man up and calls 911, but he knows that that's not going to be enough time, so covers his face and swings to the hospital where he recovers. He let Otto escape. Peter starts contemplating with himself. He was honest with Otto, and look what it led to. Honesty led to someone almost dead. This dwells on Peter. Should he not be honest with people to spare their feelings, to spare lives? But he can't think about that now, he has to stop Otto. But first he gets a call from MJ. She wants to tell him something. Peter meets up with MJ and sees a bruise on his head. She asks where he got that from and Peter says it's nothing, he just bumped his head. MJ tells Peter that from the connection from her new school that she applied to, she got a new acting job downtown on a short film. Peter says that's really good and he's really proud of her. And then they kiss each other. It was spontaneous, it was real. These two characters have built up to this moment, and something great happens. And they share it together. They both just look at each other. And then we cut back to Otto in his home where he has the arms and they start breaking down. He needs new ones. He needs new ones from Oscorp, and he'll take back and have his revenge. Otto does a few small repairs that he can on the arms he already has, and then activates them and wears them. And it's time. Doc Ock is born. Doc Ock goes to the Oscorp tower and breaks in. There is news about it. Peter is with MJ and Peter has to leave, so comes up with an excuse and he leaves. He puts on the costume and swings through the city towards Oscorp. Doc Ock breaks in and finds the arms as he tears things up left and right. But then Spider-Man lands behind him. They have a funny little first interaction before they fight. Ox slightly gets the better of Spider-Man. Spider-Man is down and Ox takes the arms from Oscorp and escapes successfully. There's reports everywhere of a new villain on the loose. J. Jonah Jameson reports that Spider-Man helped him steal the Oscorp tech. Spider-Man confronts Donald Mencken, who is sat at the wreckage. He asks why he hasn't destroyed the arms already. Donald tells Spider-Man that Oscorp has many secrets. Spider-Man has a feeling that there is a bigger picture, that someone is behind all the superpowered beings coming from Oscorp, and none of them were accidents. He tells this to Donald and he clenches. Spider-Man leaves. Doc Ock installs the new arms and incites his revenge. Now that he's got what is rightfully his, he'll get his own back. How does it feel to have something taken away from you? He will tarnish the Osborn name, the legacy that Norman Osborn created. He is going to destroy the Oscorp Empire, starting with destroying that tower and everything it has going for it. Just before the start of the third act, or just leading into the third act, we have a scene with Peter where he will reflect on his honesty situation again, about how if he wasn't honest with Otto, Oscorp wouldn't be in tatters and potentially under threat again. He was the one who instigated this behavior from Otto. In all essence, it's Peter's fault. Doc Ock is on his rampage. He attacks Oscorp Tower again, and this time, he's bringing it down. He's more powerful than ever. He has his new arms and he's ready to wreak havoc. Peter sees this on the news and says he has to end this once and for all. This is it. Spider-Man heroically swings into battle and lands opposite Ock. Felicia also sees this on the TV too, and decides this is her chance to tell Peter. They'll stop this bad guy and then she'll make her move. Black Cat jumps into battle too, to help Spider-Man. Otto says that he knows Spider-Man is the fault of Oscorp. Isn't he mad that Norman ruined his life too? Oscorp is the source of everything, says Otto. Otto proposes that they team up and they take down Oscorp once and for all. While Peter knows that Otto is actually right, he can't because he knows the way he goes about doing it is wrong. Spider-Man wants Oscorp gone off the map as much as Otto does as well, but he can't team up with him. Spider-Man refuses and him and Black Cat fight Otto. In the fight, Felicia gets really injured and Spider-Man shouts out her name. Spider-Man fights Otto and Otto knocks Peter's mask off him and sees his face. Otto is surprised, but it makes sense. Peter Parker also wanted to bring Otto down just like Norman. Peter told him about his personal life, which was a mistake because now Peter tried to take from him. Otto is now going to take something that means a lot to Peter, so goes after Mary Jane. You see, from Otto's perspective, this is now the case. Peter wanted Otto gone in Otto's perspective, so now he is going to reverse the card and do what Peter and Norman did to him. Peter promised that he wouldn't let this happen, so chases after him. Black Cat chases too. Otto kidnaps Mary Jane in a last-ditch effort for revenge. MJ passes out from the shock. He threatens to kill MJ if he doesn't stop. He says he'll spare Parker because he was a good friend for the time they were. Spider-Man backs off, but then pulls a fast one as he webs Otto's face and rescues MJ and puts her down safely. Spider-Man and Black Cat find a way to beat Otto and it's finally over. They stopped him. Spider-Man makes sure MJ is okay, and she wakes up. But then she's taken to a hospital for a checkup. Luckily, she didn't see who Peter was. Peter and Felicia have a scene where they're reflecting on what just happened. They talk for a while with their masks off, and then out of nowhere, Felicia says that she has something to tell Peter, but then said that she'd rather show it instead, and then she kisses Peter. Peter lets it linger before pulling away. Peter doesn't say anything. Felicia says that it's fine if he doesn't feel the same way, but she just wanted him to know. Felicia just wanted to be honest with him. Peter says that he's got a lot on his mind, and that he can't be thinking about this right now. Spider-Man swings off into the night, and Felicia is left there. We then have one last scene where Peter sees MJ. Peter has been thinking about everything that just happened. He knows that something similar to what happened to Gwen almost happened again today, and he won't let that happen again. He can't have MJ being hurt. They see each other and Peter asks if she's okay and she says yes. Then Peter decides to break up with her and tell her that they shouldn't see each other anymore.
Peter tears up and so does MJ. MJ gets mad and wants a reason why, but Peter says that he can't tell her and he walks off. He wasn't honest with MJ to potentially save another life, because the last time he was honest with someone, a person almost died. Roll credits. And then we get a post-credit scene of Donald Mencken and the gentleman. The gentleman said that Donald had risked everything. The gentleman kills Donald Mencken by shooting him in the head, explaining that if you want something done, you do it yourself. We then get another post-credit scene of Doc Ock going to jail and meeting the Shocker and the Rhino and making friends with them.
Thank you for watching another retro fanfiction. Hopefully you all did enjoy. Make sure to tune in next Monday so you can see the amazing Spider-Man 5. But with that being said, I will catch you all on Thursday for another episode of my spectacular Spider-Man animated series. See you all next time. Take care and peace.